What's going on, everybody? This is Marcel, owner and trainer Fuller Fitness. Hopefully you are doing well, feeling good. Hopefully not too hot wherever you're living, wherever you live right now. It's been really hot where I am, or hot enough where I am, especially if you're outside doing certain things. So this is, for those who might be able to keep up with how things are going with the way I do videos is 1 week. I do barbell workouts, and then the following week I do dumbbell workouts. And then I just keep going, back and forth. Allows me to feel better about what I'm doing instead of spending years doing dumbbell workouts, and then sometimes I'll do band workouts. So now it's barbell 1 week, dumbbells another week, and then next week I think I'm actually using bands. I don't know if I'm going to record it because I don't really get any views whenever I do it. So with this one, it's dumbbells, it's shoulders. I'm going to try to do all of it and not just the shoulder press. So already warmed up, and then hopefully I'm good enough to lift the load that I plan on lifting today. Probably should have warmed up too, just so you can see what that is, but one, to figure out what the warm up was going to be, and then if I can go ahead and get into the actual shoulder workout. So I'm going to be upset if I can't do this today, because it's only 1:05, so hopefully, I've said it in the videos, and it's true. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, but with it being 1:05, hopefully I'm good to go. That is not my max. So the goal for this week, I think last week too, was to do multiple sets of 4, 5, or 6. I think I was supposed to do reps of like 6. I don't think I've been doing that, but I think with some exercises I did, but the goal was to do reps of 5 or 6 this week, and excuse me, that was the goal. I kind of did it, but it was a good week. I just don't think I necessarily did stuff entirely, but I probably did. I don't remember. It's been an interesting week, tiring week, especially as when you have a celebrated day coming. So for depending on when certain people see this, tomorrow is the 4th of July, so all the stuff that certain people are doing to get ready for that day, to celebrate that day. With the workout schedule that I have, I'm not working out Fridays anymore, unless I decide to do my boxing stuff, which I am kind of hoping to do, but every Friday, but you know, we shall see, especially with it being as hot as it's been where I live in New York State. Alright, so that was one set, because I didn't do anything before like I would sometimes in other videos. I just did the warm up this time, so see if I can do the second set. And then I feel tempted on shoulder days to try to do 3 sets, since I don't necessarily spend much time pressing stuff over my head. And I think a lot of us don't necessarily spend much time pressing stuff over the head, so just to work the shoulder in a certain way, and just to do a little more something that I don't always do. I don't think many of us, if many of us do, unless you're a professional wrestler or a gymnast or a cheerleader. And only but so many people who press stuff over their head. Weight, items, or people. So interesting thing is, I kind of wonder, to a certain degree, once I found out how strong cheerleaders are, the male and female cheerleaders, on whether or not I missed out by not being one. As weird as that might sound to certain people, but that just shows how ignorant some people are. Because again, when it comes to gymnastics and cheerleading and certain things that people do, if you actually pay attention to the way they do certain things, depending on what your interests are, and if you're watching a video like this for those who lift heavy stuff, and you see the male cheerleaders pressing these cheerleaders up over their head, and on many occasions it's with one hand, having the balance and the strength to do that. So again, my stuff in the almost 40 years that I've been alive has been based off of the respect, off of how and why people do stuff. How come this person can do it and some others can't, and stuff like that. So cheerleaders, shoot, even ballet dancers, the male ballet dancers. Some of the stuff that some of those guys can do, pressing women up over their head. You know, the women are probably only 95 pounds, but there's a lot of people who can't press 95 pounds over their head. Shoot, I got 105s right now. That's not, excuse me, that's not my max. But shoot, again, having the strength and the balance to do that, without momentum, without dropping the person, at least when they're on stage, because we've been practicing, but even though I've done this before, I still sometimes wonder if I can still do it or can do it multiple times. So I did it the first set. Especially seeing that I never have a spotter working out at home. That's the interesting thing about lifting something that feels heavy enough. Trying to do a certain number of sets. So that might be it for that. For today. And probably any other day. So move this out the way, and instead of adjusting the dumbbells for this exercise compared to the other ones, I'm going to take a short break, and then do shrugs with these 105-pound dumbbells. For anybody, for those that are watching this and hearing certain sounds while I am doing this, I have the air conditioning on, and then you might hear the fan in my room. So I think when I rewatched some of the previous videos and you hear certain things, that's what it is. Because it shouldn't be anything else. Especially with the air conditioner being right over there. Alright, 2 sets of 4. I wonder what's the highest number of reps I did with 105 pounds. Even though my goal is never to do a bunch of reps. So, let me see, hopefully, dang. Alright, and then depending on what you are into, what kind of stuff you look at, for those who have Patreon, and for those who see certain creators and want to be able to communicate with some of us, for those who are able to make time to do such, if you become a member on my Patreon, and I'll put the link at the bottom for anyone who has it or might be tempted to get it, to where you can become a member. But depending on what kind of member you become, you'll be able to get certain things from me. So there's 3 tiers currently to choose from. Alright, get these shrugs in, see if I do 20 reps. Let's get it on. So, I think I made a comment about how I don't like to do a lot of reps, but with shrugs, I do, to try not to put an overabundance of weight on the dumbbell. I think the highest I've done is 160. Yeah, if you want to see that, you can try to scroll around. What am I got 10s that I'm looking for. I'm about to get real pissed off trying to figure out what my damn 10s were. Sometimes it seems like I might be better off working out at the gym, but at the same time, using my dumbbells the way that I use them, I get to lift heavier, with the dumbbells at least. And then to do squats, for whatever the reason, you go to the gym, go to the squat rack, and it seems like almost unless you're there at 5 a.m., first people to get there. Which the last time I went to the gym at 5 a.m. I was literally the first one, and then not only the first one, I was the only one in the gym for like 5 or 10 minutes. That was awesome. So I might have actually posted it and said something about it. I think I did. I walked in, and that was at least 5 weeks ago, possibly a little longer. You know. But yeah, to go there and the fact that people, you know, whatever changes have been made at certain gyms to where, for whatever reason, LA Fitness allowed to try to become eSporta. For whatever reason, they thought that was a good idea. And now, as far as the one here, and possibly all of them, but the one here, going back to they went back to being LA Fitness. So, alright, so with the stuff that I'm doing now I'm doing front shoulder raises. Even though my shoulders are still recuperating from the chest and arms workout I did 2 days ago, depending on when you see this. Sheesh. I did 105, so I should be able to do 30. So I was gonna unload the dumbbells I just used, but instead I'm gonna use the Olympic dumbbells. Alright. Let's get it on. And dealing with the challenge to not try to go fast and rock. Try to be still. 3. With front shoulder raises, I do 2 different angles to try to get a certain shape and look for my shoulders, trying to increase my sexy as far as the shoulders, doing certain things with the arms, but I did chest and arms compared to shoulders and arms like I have been doing for years. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, unless I go and do boxing on Fridays, which I'm hoping to, but at the same time, you know, having Friday, Saturday, Sunday to recover and be able to turn up next week, especially with the motivation that I have to press 150 pounds for incline dumbbells on the week of my birthday. But I think it'll have to be the Tuesday, a couple of days later after my birthday. Because I don't work out on Saturdays, and I'm not going to work out on a Saturday just so I can hit that goal. So either do it the days before or days after. You know, and then I don't do what other people do, which I should, because it would help, but, you know, to edit the video in a way to where it speeds things up, and I'll just try not to take too much time in between, plus I'm doing multiple sets for this part of the shoulder exercise, so workout, so it's not really heavy, so hopefully I don't have to wait as long, but, you know, for those of us that have a certain goal, you do likely take at least 2 minutes, if not 3 minutes, in between sets. And then depending on what, how, and why you're doing stuff. Because again, depending on how many videos of mine that you've seen over the last 3 or more years, that I usually don't do a lot of sets. I don't know if I've ever done 4 sets. Well, no, that's not true. It's been a long time since I've done 3 or more sets. There have been times I've done 3. In fact, I've done 3 sets this year a few times. Whenever I do sets of 2, 3, maybe 4, I might do a 3rd set. But when you're lift, that's why people do drop sets. It took me a while to figure that out because I didn't care all that much before. But that's why people do drop sets, but I don't believe in drop sets. I have an idea as to why they're doing it, but I believe in just, doing different reps and sometimes sets instead of doing drop sets and making a workout last longer than necessary. So another thing you'll hear me saying on my videos, if you're doing certain things and it seems to work, obviously keep doing it, at least for now. Eventually you are going to have to make some kind of change, and that's true for all of us, especially for those of us that get to an older age. Not saying I'm really old yet, but going on 40 soon and 3 Saturdays, depending on when some of you see this. Again, trying to make sure you don't try to go so fast to where you end up using momentum and end up doing a Harlem Shake. So that's it for that. So the next 2 sets with the same, still going up front, but I'm gonna turn my thumb up and do it that way just to hit my shoulder different, a little different. So again, if you just happen to have Patreon or curious about it, for any of us that have Patreon, as a creator, and just being able to do certain things with us. So obviously for mine, tier 1, being able to chat. I don't remember everything about tier 1, but maybe I do. I'm not sure. So let me see. Tier 1 for Patreon. Being able to chat with me and able to get a response as soon as possible. And get some answer, an answer, some form of an answer, depending on what it is. Online personal training has a different price compared to the membership you pay for on Patreon, so hopefully you can get that out the way, because I'm very worried about how many people are going to ask me certain questions that's personal training related, but not want to pay for the personal training. So tier 1, being able to chat with me. I think you get to send direct messages. I don't know if there's much of a difference between chatting and direct message on there, if anywhere. And there might be one other thing. I think with all of the tiers, so with 1, you get to chat with me, send direct messages, and get a shout out on YouTube, or I tag you on Instagram if you're actually on there. Tier 2, you get a discount from the personal training, online personal training. If I do challenges, workout challenges, getting a discount on that, and being one of the first ones to hear about it, if not the first ones to hear about it. So getting the discounts on the programs, the first one to hear about certain workouts and maybe even merch. And I think that's it for tier 2. Tier 3, um, tier 3, you get, oh my gosh, how the hell did I forget that one? That was the one I remembered the most. Tier 3, you get a free t-shirt, either orange like this one or black similar to this one. One free t-shirt, one free month of online personal training. So if you were tempted about it, curious about it, interested in it, free t-shirt, one free month of online personal training, and a shout out either on here or being tagged on Instagram for those who have it. Or TikTok, I have that too. I don't, I've just gotten to the point to where I pay attention to that. TikTok. I think that's it as far as me give you a shout out here, tag on Instagram or TikTok. So with this one, just instead of going up like this and a thumb facing the window, now it's facing the ceiling, and it just hits the shoulder just a little bit different, and there's other ways to work on to do that as well. Control it. Alright, one more set there. Try not to take too much time to do the last set of that. Then go to the side, and then do rear delts. Man, just the mindset changes to a certain degree, whether you like doing your workouts or not. Some people are doing stuff because they were forced into it and it just became a habit that they can't really break or not sure how to break, which is interesting. Because as far as doing stuff like this, it's not true for me, but I definitely wasn't forced into this. I did not and do not really know of people that are addicted to it or were forced into it. I think the people that I went to school with would work out sometimes, especially when we were younger, probably worked out more. And then as people get into their 20s, don't work out as much, and there's different reasons. Same for people in their 30s, especially if they end up with kids. So, I got people talked about me in multiple ways. They were kind of careful about it to try to prevent getting their ass beat, thankfully, because I've never been to jail before, and I would like to keep it that way. But people made it seem like they're, and I'm not the only one, not that that matters, but people made it seem like there was something wrong with me for not going out to party and not being out drinking and not being out smoking, and I've never had a beer. I don't even like the smell of it. Going out to bars, and even one girlfriend I had was dumb enough to try to manipulate me to go to the bar, and thankfully after a certain period of time, it didn't take long for her to make it known to leave me the fuck alone when it comes to talking about that, and I'm not want to say much about that because there's very little good to say about that relationship. But again, I wasn't forced into doing any of the workouts. I actually look forward to my workouts in terms of how I feel. Sometimes how it looks, how I look. Usually how I look. As long as I don't allow myself to eat a certain amount of chocolate in December, like I had in my younger days. Plus, I can't eat as much chocolate as I did in my younger days anyway. Otherwise, I'll start to feel sick, which is weird, but and kind of funny at the same time, at least to me. So. Always trying to control the momentum to make sure you're not trying to go really fast and trying to rush it. Just go ahead and do it. Unless you don't care. One more. So, for those of us that are old enough, when I was growing up and they had fitness shows on ESPN in the morning. So obviously in the summertime, I looked forward to that and got pissed off when it wasn't, the workout shows weren't on ESPN anymore. But they had all these different shows, especially when they had ESPN 1 and ESPN 2, so then they had more shows. Which is good, you know, ladies had their shows, guys pretty much had their shows, and for me, being so young and trying to figure out which of the shows was good for me, which was annoying trying to figure that out, because you're trying to, you know, when you're young, you're like, well, I want to work out, but which workouts are best for me? Shoot, even when you get to the point where you're in high school and college, some of us are still trying to figure out, should I do this? Should I do this? In terms of being able to do certain things, in terms of looking a certain way. Popularity was never my goal, so it was just like, you know, to be really strong but still wanting abs. Really strong, still want abs. I wanted to be fast, strong. I was. Not as fast or strong as I wanted it to be, but I was. You know, so, and then I could just imagine if I, you know, and that's true for a lot of us, to learn how to do things in ways that work for you to be stronger sooner, which is another reason why I'm so excited to do what I do. Next is lateral side shoulder raises. You know, so, you know, just trying to figure out what is best for us at each stage of our life. And so now with me going on 40 very soon, unless the Lord has other plans for me, you know, just trying to figure out what improvements to make, whether it's lifting heavier, doing a certain number of sets, definitely trying to make sure I warm up to make it less likely I end up with pain. You know, I didn't warm up when I did my incline chest presses on, that might be why I'm as sore as I am now, likely, because I didn't warm up for whatever reason. I didn't warm up, so side shoulder raises. I'm tempted to try to do them at the same time. Let's see, depending on how my back feels about it. Let me see. 30 pounds each. And not using momentum. likely only doing one more of those, maybe a third, since I don't think too many people do, other than lateral raises with dumbbells or bands. Don't really do that, so I might sneak in a third set, but not likely. But yeah, just depending on why you're doing this stuff, if you are doing this stuff yet. And for those who are, just if your stuff that you're doing is not based on popularity, then you should be good to go. And then if you need or want help, hopefully you look at the right sources. And if you're watching this video or anything like it, but specifically this video or any of my videos, and then like I said with Patreon, for those of us that have it, but specifically me, being able to chat with me and actually get a response compared to some other platforms to where you're not getting a response. But again, you would have to be a paying member. So I said that for the first tier you can message me and get a response. But any tier, to be able to chat or message me on there, I have to try to add that on there if it's not, which I don't think it is, but to chat or message me on there. And again, if you're asking certain questions that are based off on stuff that I would tell my clients, which I would understand why you think as a paying member on Patreon you should be able to get certain answers about certain things. But so again, depending on what you're asking, which is why it might be challenging for personal trainers to have people paying for memberships there. But wanting personal training without having to pay for it, which is that's an interesting thing. I don't know if people try to be manipulative, which a lot of people do. Too many people do. Or it's just in people to do that. Yeah, I'm paying $8 a month for tier whatever, tier 1, and you should tell me this and give me this. I'm paying $14 a month for tier 2. I should get this. So hopefully people are respectful of the tier of me as the creator, and then the tier that you paid for, and what you get compared to what you're trying to manipulate me to give you. Seeing that I don't have to do that, and probably don't want to do that. Alright, set number 2, and possibly the last set before doing rear delt. I usually don't do them at the same time. No momentum. Let me see. Oh shit. So we're doing decent on time. So I might go ahead and do a third set and then do rear delt raises or pulls, however certain people might want to phrase that. So I think I mentioned it before, I don't know how long ago, and I'm tempted to actually show you, but when you're watching, and it should be obvious to some, if not many, but when you're watching shows and movies, especially cartoons, but shows and movies, and you see people lift certain things that are really heavy, and the characters look a certain way, and it's just like, man, I wish I can do that. Try not to fall into that trap, because with a lot of these things being on TV, which is funny, because then certain people are like, well, how do we know what you're doing is real? I'm not tech savvy like that too. One, I'm not interested in lying to anybody. Two, I'm not tech savvy to try to figure out how to lie to you guys and make it seem like I lifted more than I can. Two, when you're watching certain shows and movies, and you see people lifting 400 and something pounds, 500 something pounds, 600 something pounds, or whatever big ass number some of these people are doing, there's a strong possibility they didn't actually do that. Which is interesting, because because the fact that they're not actually doing it, and then there's still the sound that make it sound like they're actually doing it, and then the weights that they put on to make it look like they actually did it. So it's, again, you gotta, when it comes to shows and movies, and maybe even some of the stuff you see on social media, because I think there are many people making it seem like they can lift certain things on social media that they can't. And they're actually a site, if not multiple sites, but there's a website you can actually go to where you can actually get fake weights, and a lot of people spending a decent amount of money on fake weights just so they can try to get people to think that they lifted heavier than they did. I think it's almost funny, but it's more sad than it is funny. I saw some stuff on Instagram, and I didn't really pay attention to it, but then I had to think, like, wait a minute, you see certain shows, certain movies, wondering like, damn, I wish I can do that. But then, just having that realization that there's a strong possibility the person didn't do that. So, last set of this, and then rear delt. 2, 3. This feels heavy doing them at the same time. 4. 5. I usually do them one at a time. 6. 1. Doing them one at a time. Don't feel as heavy. 2. Less likely to use momentum. 3. Less likely to bother my neck or my back. And I'm not saying that to be funny. Alright, so now to lean forward and do rear delt. I'm not sure if I'm going to face the phone or face this way and do it that way. I'm not sure, but the focus is on working the rear delts as well as the traps. I feel tempted to do 3 sets with that too, but I don't know if that's necessary, seeing that I did back already and worked the rhomboids in a different way by doing, what was it this week? Dumbbell rolls this week, barbell rolls next week. Tempted to go really light next week and probably the week after, and then that week of my birthday try to do 100. And maybe I still will try it. I have no idea, because as far as these dumbbells that I use to do the shoulder presses today, it's kind of hard to fit a certain amount of weight on there, depending on how many 35s. And then I bought this 50, and I was going to buy more 50s, but struggling the way that I am financially, I haven't been able to do many of the things I was hoping to do by now. Some of it might be my fault due to not knowing about certain things and whatever. So, you know, being an adult is more of a challenge than people might have thought. When we were kids, and it's like, I can't wait till I'm an adult where I can do and say whatever I want, go wherever I want. Whatever else people might have said, do whatever I want, say wherever I want, go wherever I want, and whatever else, whatever other ideas many of us had, and for some adults that might be true. As far as going wherever I want, that I don't really care about. I don't really care to go out, you know, again, people talked about me to a certain degree, at least as far as saying things to my face, you know. You should relax and you should go out for a beer and date and, you know, go dating and go out to the bar and drink some beers, and people telling me that I was boring. How the fuck am I boring? Because I don't want to go to the bar. I don't want to drink adult beverages. I don't want to get drunk. I don't smoke. I don't get high, obviously. Don't want to be around people who do. And people get mad at me for it. Like, of all the things people can get mad at certain things for, why the fuck would that be? Why the fuck would that be one of them? So, you know. Man. And I kind of noticed it when I was growing up, how stupid it is that people get mad at certain things, get mad at people for certain things that should not matter, you know. So thankfully, once you get to a certain age, you know, especially once you get to an older age, to where certain things don't matter as much, but I don't think it bothered me that much when I was growing up. I was just confused, like, how the hell do you overachieve in gym class? Why are there people mad at me for not wanting to? See, nope. I thought I was trying to figure out whether or not I have to adjust my phone, but I think I'm good to go. And I think I'm going to face this way with high hopes I don't hit anything. I might turn this way a little bit. But yeah, for those of you, and then that's another thing. I don't know if it's a big deal, but it bothered me just because I didn't understand. Still don't care after all this time, but being called a meathead because you work out, like, well, where the hell do people come up with this stuff? Rear delts. And this is how I usually do them. I mean, if you use that machine where the pec deck, if you do that, go for it. But I prefer free weights to the more often. I might do chest flies on that, but that's rare. So, see how fast I can get this done with high hopes I don't take too much space in my phone, and depending on how many people are still watching at this point. And I thank you, by the way, everybody. Well, obviously if people aren't watching anymore, but you know, for those who did watch up to this point, I'm not saying I'm done yet. And then hopefully, if you're not subscribed already, and subscribe so that you are notified on whenever there are videos posted. We'll keep pressing the like button, because not only does that help me, it helps others who are interested in stuff like this. I definitely would have loved to see stuff like this when I was growing up, trying to figure out what's possible instead of just wondering and thinking, and especially seeing that back then I didn't know what I was doing. I'm older than YouTube, I'm older than MySpace, I'm older than Google, you know, so, you know, I just randomly did certain things hoping that it worked. It did, but had I known more, had I known more about what muscles were being worked and how many sets to do and how to warm up, I think we did good at warming up back then. But how many sets to do and what muscles I was working and how, and trying to work every muscle instead of just the ones that seem popular, which is, especially when I was growing up, it was, it seemed like it to me, to where it was just, it still is to some, bench, squat, shit, that was pretty much it for us. But it was just like bench and squat when I was growing up. And then I heard in college, bench, squat, deadlift. But for those of us that are curious about everything else, other muscles and being well balanced and being strong at everything you can possibly do. And so I'm glad that I've always been motivated to make up my own mind regardless of what other people were saying. And hopefully you are too. Especially for those that are still watching at this point. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So as far as rear delt raises, I think 2 sets are good enough. As far as how I do things, as far as dumbbells 1 week, barbell the next week, that is it. So, like I said, if you're not subscribed yet, hopefully you go ahead and do that. If you're interested at least a little bit, tempted at least a little bit, hopefully, again, like I said, probably 15 minutes ago, people aren't necessarily forced into this, but even if you are, hopefully realizing how beneficial it is to do this stuff, not only for the sake of doing it wherever you do it, the gym, your home, or doing certain workouts outside, whatever, however you're doing your stuff, and seeing the benefit of it, feeling the benefit of it, when the fact that you see yourself every day and you're just starting or been doing it for a certain period of time, it's like, I'm not seeing results and I don't feel different. You should definitely feel it. And if you're not, you're definitely doing stuff wrong. But you should definitely feel the difference just about immediately. Seeing the difference is challenging because you see yourself every day. So hopefully there are people who haven't seen you for like a week, if not longer, to where they see you and it's like, damn, what have you been doing? That happened to me, even though that wasn't even my goal when I first started working out. And so try to keep this story short. But when I first started working out in the late 90s, what was that, 1996? Got frustrated because I was like, man, I don't have any equipment, not sure what to do, but I want to do something. And I put a bunch of stuff in the book bag that I had that year. I think I had that book bag for a couple of years because I liked it that much. Put a bunch of stuff in the bag and then just decided to curl it, and I might have put it up over my head and did tricep extensions even though I didn't know what that was. I think I did push-ups with the bag on my back. I think I walked up and down the stairs. I might have did squats. I think I walked up and down the stairs, jumped up and down this, did plyometrics up and down the stairs. And I just did all this different stuff, not really knowing what I was doing, but just hoping that by doing this it will work. and got frustrated because the weight that I had in the bag didn't seem heavy enough. But all of a sudden summer hit, and I think I was sleeveless, and certain people just looked at me and they're like, "Damn, what the hell you been doing? You were already bigger than all of us, and now all of a sudden you're even bigger. What the hell?" And I was like, "What?" Like I didn't understand. Um, and they're just like, your arms are much bigger, and that's always been my thing. Not because I just work arms, but my arms just always grew whenever I did stuff. So again, people who hadn't seen me for whatever period of time, all of a sudden I go outside and, man, you got so much bigger, and then they found out how stronger I got. I was like, well, this is what I was doing. I think a few people tried it, and I don't know if they didn't do it long enough or whatever, but so you know, just try something, and hopefully it's working at least a little bit, and it's likely it is. And then hopefully you know of a way. And again, with this generation, it's kind of hard for you to not try to find out what, how, and when to do stuff, because there's so much more available. But again, I'm older than many of you, likely, and there's more ways to find out. But hopefully, as far as seeing my information, that's why my videos are so long. One, I'm not good at editing, and two, I'm telling you true stories. Nothing that I regret though. I just wish I knew more, but I think I had fun doing the stuff that I was doing. Just trying different stuff, seeing certain things on commercials. People would say something and you try it and it's just like, depending on what it was. But I don't think I have really the regrets, especially trying to do so many things that I tried on my own. The money I've spent on equipment since I was 16, which was 2001. So the point is, try. Try, and then hopefully, if you have people that you trust and respect, to ask, like, hey, what do you think I should use? And that's if you don't have a gym membership. So as far as working out at home, yeah, hopefully you watch my videos, because I'm hoping to do more and more stuff, especially for those who become members on Patreon, to where I can give you guys more attention and information. So yeah, like I said, hopefully you enjoyed the video, and subscribe, press the like button, share it, because not only does it help me, hopefully it helps others who are whatever age, but especially the young ones. I definitely want to help them so that they don't struggle as much as I did due to not knowing and being unsure and all this other stuff. So hopefully you enjoyed the video, and then hopefully if you're interested, become a member on Patreon. And then not only that, to possibly become a client of Fuller Fitness, and to be sent workouts, have workouts sent to you, whether you hire me and we're together for a month, if we're together for 3 months, or we're together for 6 months, to help you get to where you're trying to go in terms of your strength, in terms of your size, and trying to figure out what, how, and when to use stuff. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. This is Martone, owner and trainer, Fuller Fitness. See you next time.